he'll bring to the table. Because when she's at full presence, if you're in a tough spot in terms of like objectives and also in resources when it comes to survivors, you can definitely feel that smothering offense of this sculptor. Now she spawns here near the corner house, right near the exit. Holtz is going to be the one he's going to be running into if he continues this straight trajectory. As Amiko transitioning to the graveyard, and now we see Junbi already working on a cipher. iAlien again, known for his he has a plethora of hunters to work with, and just chasing away. He already expended the mercenary's elbow pad and realizes, all right, I don't need to spend too much time here. Let me try to look for a better survivor to chase.
Fantastic job, as you mentioned it, really concentrating on the best survivor that you can find in this match, and we definitely have a lot of option rights here to go for, but Mercenary definitely not the one survivor that you want to go first for, because he has just a delayed fall down, and as well as very long time on the rocket chair, and the two remaining elbow pads that he has can just prolong that kind so much longer. Now he found the Priestess. Definitely going to be a good target as soon as she has exhausted her portals, already taking the first second statue. So that is going to be a blink right here, and hits down that Priestess, not even giving her time to kite around for any longer. And even with the Priestess right here, utilizing one portal, had one portal left, not giving Lou the chance to make good use of the Priestess so far.
That was an excellent sequence of events for iAlien, right? Took some time, expended the resource of that mercenary, didn't have the best early seconds, but once he locked into that Priestess, stayed cool, calm, and collected, and the controlled aggression for him to be able to down this Priestess early in the game, I think also attributed to that mechanic being banned, that he's able to see clearly and all right, I can take my time. I don't need to be too antsy in terms of trying to down survivors early on. And we see that the Priestess is about to be past the halfway mark of this rocket chair time. Amiko already at the graveyard. Now what's important here is that he already has his chisel skill, so he can already in his head, all right, I'm gonna go for this cipher next. I'm gonna be planting different seeds here who I'll be going for, and we do see that the psychologist had to be chased away, and it seems like they will be sacrificing this Priestess to try and focus on these objectives.
Will they? That is the question. We can see June being indecisive, but yes, you're very right. Priestess is out of the game. In favor of the decoding progress. They really want to push that decoding progress right here, but at the same time, iAlien, as you mentioned, with that skill, can already take a look at other cipher machines, can already take a look and put pressure on these survivors. And now, fantastic job from the psychologist, hiding at the graveyard and just staying out of sight, not triggering tinnitus. So now iAlien needs to, move away, transition away from the graveyard, allowing the psychologist to go back to decoding, and we are back to the mercenary right here. iAlien this time committing a little bit more, trying to get that mercenary.
Yeah, and the thing is, iAlien has to either, pick his poison here. Psychologist for mercenary, I gotta go with one. At least he got rid of the Priestess, so he does have to worry about those portals. 2 ciphers remaining though, so the survivors are definitely in this. They're still fighting back, and it seems like iAlien wants to focus on trying to go for this psychologist. His blink is about to be finished, so he's gonna try to stack up these statue hits. Goes for the melee hit, doesn't have the full presence just yet, and still tries to chase. He transitions away from the graveyard, and now it seems like he wants to pressure some of the other survivors, and hopefully some of these ciphers too.
I mean, he really makes the mercenary run a long distance right here, buying a lot of time and really pushing that. And there we can see only has one elbow pad left, was already taking it with the statues earlier. And one good thing about being the sculptor going against the mercenary is that if you hit him and he has this delayed go down effect, you can utilize one statue to bring him down immediately. And I think that's what we can expect right here. We can expect that mercenary taking that hit, taking another hit. Now you can just concentrate on that mercenary and bring him down immediately, or going to put pressure on other survivors. What we can see right now, let's just leave the mercenary out of the way. Let him run. He's gonna spend a lot of time on the ground. That is slowing down the decoding speed, and now I can put even more pressure on other survivors, which will slow down the game for them even more.
And I like the forethought of iAlien. He's thinking like 4 or 5 steps ahead. He's playing 4D chess with us right now, because he already exhausted the psychologist. and now he does not want to chair the mercenary because it's a long chair time. He does not want to camp. One Cypher does remain, but the only resource he has to worry about aside from the health of these survivors is that footfall from that forward, and now he's just really zoning in on trying to down the psychologist. Aiko's doing a great job, but no, we'll have to eat that hit, and iAlien has 2 survivors down.
Wow, that was a fantastic job from the psychologist. I have to say, really good patience, not throwing down the pallet and really taking the distance. But then in between the pallet, there was a statue that, you know, you just couldn't pass, and that was giving the Sculptor enough time to catch up and land that second hit, bring down the psychologist. And as you mentioned, psychologist is not having any skills left. She healed herself, and we now have the mercenaries having as far as I can see, a syringe is helping himself up now. And you can see the forward trying to come in. Forward still has an entire football. Keep that in mind. You can see dash in. That might actually be a good chance for iAlien to hit him with the statue and bring him down immediately, but is not.
Chip shots.
Not letting him. Not letting him hit him.
Yeah, he gets the regular hit, and now we see that they have to go for more than half rescue, and now he wants to go for the double down situation. The mercenary is still working on that last Cypher, but it seems like Amico will be priority. It falls in time, and now we see that this is the opening for IT to try and pop that Cypher and try to get as much survivors out of the gate as possible, but Amico doesn't have much to work with, has to go for some real estate. Forward does have half a football left, so he might pose a threat, but Amico will have to eat that regular hit. Looks behind him, Junbi is nowhere to be found, and iAlien can safely secure the psychologist on this rocket chair.
That is for sure, and as you mentioned, they need to focus on decoding as well, but both Cypher machines they are working on are at halfway. We have 2 survivors already out of the game. Now the question is, what will happen? Will they be able to pop that Cypher? They want to secure at least 1 elimination, one survivor out of the gate or through the dungeon, but the thing is, it's gonna be a back and forth. Forward being down extremely strong right here, because now you can just focus on the mercenary and, you know, just go back and forth. Secure the 4 survivor elimination, go for the mercenary, and he seems to be finding that mercenary very fast. Right there he is, and he sees him, is not trying to hit yet, but oh, these statues.
Yeah, just predicting, able to place them properly when they're about to drop that pallet. And yeah, again, ladies and gentlemen, there's 1 Cypher remaining, but iAlien was so, I would say calculated, but tried to just dwindle the resources. Junbi now trying to push that last Cypher, already used up his self-heal, and you know what? Oh, utilizing the football, but oh my god. Dodging some of these hits, but now iAlien is already here to try to defend the Cypher near the graveyard area, and Junbi has to be very careful, can't eat 1 more hit. iAlien zoning in, will try to go for a melee hit, but again, the football able to just add some distance away, but then he gets the melee hit, and Junbi falls down. As Grizzly mentioned, does not have to worry anymore about himself resurrecting, and now we see that the teleport was utilized, and Holtz will have to try to kite for as long as possible.
Already taking that first statue. Again, if he is taking another statue, it's going to be very difficult. He has the dungeon right here, but the problem is the dungeon will not open for quite some time since the forward is not on the chair. Forward is just laying on the ground, slowly bleeding out. We now have Holtz, as you mentioned, already taking that hit, will go down. Ooh! iAlien taking that tram right here. But at the end of the day, iAlien really having a fantastic match right here. Both survivors are down now. Just has to focus on these survivors. They were already down on survivors while immediately just coming back in that wheel form. But also just overall having such a fantastic map control by being able to go basically across the entire map within seconds. Legacy on the other side, very well coordinated survivor team and very well trained survivor team. They definitely know how to counter a breaking wheel, so I'm curious to see what will happen here.
Uh-oh, it seems like Green would be attracting attention to this breaking wheel, and now the window is already there. Gotta watch out for those traps that he will lay out, but it's already a victory in its own if you're able to get the breaking wheel out of that wheel form, because it's gonna be quite tough for DTM to try to down this forward while he still has a full football to utilize. Green dropping that pallet to just make sure that the kiting does last long and make sure that the Priestess is the one with that decoding buff. And now we see that Green already making the breaking wheel go in that wheel form and just keeping him in this area while we see the Postman already more than half way done with his Cypher, and we see that Green right away, once he's out of wheel form, I'm gonna use it. Trap was almost set, and he was almost there, and Green still buying so much time, Grizzly.
This trap could have been very, very dangerous. Wow, look at that. We have the postman coming in right here, trying to buy more time for Green. Fantastic job so far from both sides. Forward really buying the time that the rest of the team needs. Look at that. Not even caring about the postman, because you really want to go for the forward. You could get rid of these spikes. And you really, you know, he has 2 spikes in there. Let's just concentrate on him. Let's just land that. It is trying to hit the blink, but was able to get away from it. The forward was able to get away. Fantastic job. This is buying so much time.
Yeah, great. And look at that, the portal. Yeah, exactly. So they are setting up for him to escape. And now we see that DTM has, he's going to have to clean these portals up. But look at that. Forward is already away from this breaking wheel. And it seems like DTM has to find another target. And TMX is already utilizing the windows. So this is going to be quite tough. Windows are also a big weakness of this breaking wheel, forcing him to exit that wheel form and now has to chase this this postman on foot, while we see that Green is at the 2nd floor removing the spikes and now goes back to that wheel form.
Talking about the windows, especially that window where we were just at the graveyard, such a difficult window, one of the strongest windows for playing against the breaking wheel. And just to say that, again, Legacy, very, very well coordinated team, really taking turns on kiting that Hunter. We had 2 spikes in the forward, they were able to get away from that breaking wheel.
In this can still turn the sides. This is the breaking wheel and he is a meta Hunter, so let's see how he's going to be able to, you know, respond to the early pressure of Legacy.
He now changed targets because he really needs to get that 1 survivor on the chair. We can see that he is going for the postman, and this is what I was talking about. I love to see other survivors, especially these top teams, going against the breaking wheel, because you can learn so much just kiting around, spinning in circles. Look at that, waiting for him to get out of the form, then going through that portal and buying more time. Postman is now in a little bit of a difficult situation, because if the postman is taking a hit or a swing by the, oh look at that, the tram almost got you know, caught up by the tram. But again, really, really good job for look at that, yet again forcing him out of his wheel form and then utilizing that portal. That might be the first fight.
Yeah, and just TMX, you know what? Once he's able to bring him out that form, he was ready with that dog just to slow him down, and it seems like Green being chased away from that Cypher. DTM trying to be a little proactive here and try and go for more survivors to down, and he knows that the forward does not have a football to utilize and wants to spike him and try to down him, but we do know that the postman is healing up while we have another survivor just focusing on Green. Wow, double down situation for DTM.
Now this is going to be very interesting. Postman is already up, so now we are focusing on the forward right here. Fantastic job. We have seen the Cypher machine that the forward was working on was almost done, so that is definitely a really, really good situation. We can now also see Priestess working on the Cypher machine at the graveyard, almost done. They have 2 Cypher machines they are working on right now, which is putting DTM into a really difficult situation, because yes, he can transition extremely fast, but can he protect 2 Cypher machines at the same time? No, you can't, and that is definitely something to keep in mind.
Plus protecting the chair, right, which the rescue happened already. Green still has Tide Turner in effect, eats that 1 hit spike, and now we see that the Priestess already primed that Cypher. Green, activates it, but right on time. Did you see the timing of that pop? Excellent endgame pop on the side of Legacy.
Was really getting away right here. Now we can see DGM. He needs to focus on at least 1 survivor elimination, because you don't want to get the 5-point game for the opponent's team. Again, we talked about this. IT actually needs 5 points to tie that match, but we can already see 2 survivors getting through the gate. Mercenary on the other side, and the dungeon. This is another 5. Exactly, in time. Everything will come in time. And again, I'm still very excited to see the second half, because there is already a lot of pressure on IT's side. I'm curious to see if they can now turn it around. The Hunter needs to secure a lot of points right here to actually help out the survivors in the second half. But let's just check out Eliotta right here going for Tokyo, the patient.
Yeah, already just rotating around Shack, and now we are at the ruins area. We do see that Eliotta wants to find the most optimal target, but it could be quite the chase if he goes for Tokyo here. because he is a pretty strong part when it comes to the walls, and he's able to utilize them, but he has to save his skills wisely. That mirror, the Aqua Mirror, once it's popped up, that's when Tokyo will try to go for the hit. Oh my god, we do see the Ellie Otter was able to cancel out that repel, and now we see the Tokyo moving to the shack area.
What a placement, not giving Tokyo any chances to get away from that hit. Really fantastic water mirror placement of Ellie Otter. And what I am curious to see is, will the Bloody Queen commit to the patient completely? Because we still have the mechanic on the field who can decode so much. Blink is coming through to close the gap between the hunter and the patient, bring down the first survivor. We can now see the pressure on the survivor side, really trying to slow down that decoding. We had the mechanic on that Cypher machine scaring her away, and we can also see that mechanic is slowly coming back, is trying to get to that Cypher machine, but that could be really good for the Bloody Queen.
Yeah, and now we see that Ellie Otter going for an optimal chair here, right at the center. It's so hard to rescue from this, but we do see the Mercenary is already coming in, but the Wanted Order will be sniping him out. Fun V still has his bot out and about, and we do see that Ellie Otter is camping this chair. Green already trying to add some pressure to this this rocket chair. Well, we do see that 4 ciphers still remain, but I believe if we can see the cipher progress on that mechanic stall, we do see Ellie Otter popping that skill. Mercenary eats the hit, and now the patient is out and about. Still can utilize his skill to try and get away. And look at that, goes for the tree, and look at the distance he's covered.
Wow, that distance was huge indeed. The skill is still having a cooldown of 10 seconds, and what we can see now is still mechanic being on the field with the dollar decoding and putting a lot of decoding pressure on the hunter, while we have the patient just circling around the shack right here, buying more time. Skill is active. Will this skill actually hit, or at least close the gap right there? We need to get that hit. At least IT needs to get that hit very, very soon, because 4 survivors remaining, no, 4 Cypher machines remaining, and that is it for now, but they will pop very fast. I can already tell these Cypher machines will go down. Once they pop, they pop.
But he tried to go for another skill usage there to try and repel to another part, but then there was some destruction, and Ellie Otter making sure to punish accordingly. 3 ciphers still remain, while you see the Mercenary already about to pop that cipher, so who will go for the rescue? Green seems to be sniped out already. Mercenary has to move away from that rocket chair, but no, he does get that. Oh, I believe that's the mechanic's doll. And now Ellie Otter going back to just trying to camp this rocket chair. Well, we see that the Tinnitus is already popped up. Fun V in the area has to eat that hit, and now Patient has one more skill to utilize to get away from this Bloody Queen.
Ellie Otter definitely concentrating on that Patient. Fantastic body block. Now going back to the main target, because we want to get... Ooh, just utilizing that skill to avoid the hit, and we have the Postman coming in to slow down the Bloody Queen. Everyone is just protecting that one survivor. We can see in the bottom left, Cypher machine is almost primed. Blink didn't go through either. This is going to be a fantastic position for Legacy right here. Cypher machine is primed. Look at the Postman. Just wants to eat that hit. Just wants to stop the Bloody Queen from chasing the Patient. This is an extremely good play. Mechanic is down. Doesn't even matter. We have the Cypher machine primed. We are going to wait until that hit lands, and then we're going to see the Cypher pop. Fantastic play so far. Wow!
Are they gonna pop it? Not quite just yet. We do note that this is the last chair of the Patient. Will try to juke away, and the Patient will have to eat this hit. This last kite has to matter. We do see the Postman already opening the exit gate, and the dungeon, Grizzly. The dungeon is there where the Patient is. Can they open it in time for them to go for a 4-man escape?
The gate is almost open on the Postman side. We can see everyone is just gathering, but it seems like there will be a long-range attack. We have the Patient down, and that is exactly what you have to do. You have to secure that one survivor elimination. You don't want to give the survivors the 5-point game. You at least want to get one survivor out of there to give your own survivors. 2 survivors out of the game. Needs to eliminate 2 survivors, and Bloody Queen, a very, very well-known high hunter who is very, very capable of doing exactly what they have to do to get these 2 survivors out of here. And I'm very curious to see how this will pan out. We have All For One starting on the Bloody Queen side and already finding the first survivor, which is the first officer right here. First officer trying to utilize his skill, but is taking that hit right away.
Oh my god, and now we see that the Bloody Queen already utilized the mirror early down to the first officer. It is all going for all for one. My goodness. This was yeah.
Amazing start, phenomenal start right here on Legacy's side. Again, they need a tie, they need 2 survivors out of here. This is already putting a lot of pressure on the survivor side. We can see IT now, that chair placement, you cannot really decode on that Cypher machine. That was an extremely early down, and we are back in the match right here. We can see first officer is on the chair, and we can also see how the Gravekeeper right here is getting chased away and utilized the skill already, was getting hit out of the skill. Now the Gravekeeper only has 1 shovel left and is trying to attempt the rescue, is trying to get to the chair, was eating that hit, but that might actually be a difficult situation. Blink is coming and we can see the concentration on the first officer. The 1 second delay of that pocket watch is nothing for all for one. Hitting these strikes against the first officer just on point, is now concentrating, really concentrating on that first hunt right here on the first officer. Really wants to bring down the first officer first to have again the momentum going for themselves, because they need a tie. They need 2 survivors out of here. If they're able to bring down the first officer, they can just focus on another survivor, and that's what they have to do.
And take note that, yeah, the furious pace that was set by him, the mechanic is still out there. So, you know, decoding is still on their side, but with how fast-paced it is, and we see that the Gravekeeper already healed up, utilized that shovel, and now trying to go back and trying to just go back to just swat away that Gravekeeper. All for One again knows that he wants to be able to make sure that the first officer goes out of the gate, just so that he'll be able to focus on solely on 1 more survivor, and it seems like the case. First officer will be out of the game, while All for One will be searching for his next survivor to down, and it seems like Luke is in the area, and All for One will be chasing this mechanic while he's able to get rid of the doll first and foremost.
Wow, what a fantastic job right here. And I also want to mention how All for One was really leaving the first officer on the chair for quite some time. He was really leaving and was just predicting, alright, they're not going to rescue. That is too dangerous. They need to focus on decoding. So let's just transition across the entire map and let's see if I can find another survivor. And as you pointed it out, concentrating on that mechanic, and not only the mechanic but also the doll, taking that hit on the mechanic right here. Fantastic job. The doll is standing there, was supposed to body block, but All for One concentrating on the mechanic now, completely eliminating the additional chance to decode by bringing down the doll and that mirror placement. Ooh.
Oh, so close there, but the mechanic, it was only a matter of time. Beautiful mirror placement on the side of All for One. And he's been so efficient, and now shifting his attention to Junbi because he wants this Cypher progress or Cypher rush to stop, and now just dwindling the resources to just prioritize going for heals, then going for the objectives. And now All for One reaping the rewards of downing that mechanic, focusing on just downing his second survivor for him to solidify legacy to move on in this tournament, and he's going to be placing him here at the water tank chair.
Mechanic, as you mentioned, is on the chair right now. This is gonna put IT into a very difficult situation because, as we mentioned earlier, high risk, high reward. The risk right now is to rescue that survivor, but they have to. They have to get 3 survivors through the gate. They know it, so they know they have to go in for the rescue. The psychologist already damaged right here, which means the Gravekeeper needs to go in, utilizing that skill. He's right here at the chair, is trying to bait the hit to rescue the teammate, and
watch out, he's saving before half. Oh, eats the hit and saves before half. So now Lou has to have a great rebound kite with the blink. What the timing there on All for One just to solidify that he will be downing the mechanic yet. Oh, he's not contented yet. He wants the double down and he gets it. Oh my god.
Fantastic job. We have the double down right here. Mechanic will be able to get on the chair, but we have to consider psychologist is halfway damaged. Can't really go in for the rescue. Is trying to pop off that Cypher, but still they need 2 more Cypher machines. The mechanic will probably they have to rescue the mechanic. This is priority 1. They have to rescue the mechanic, then they have to rescue the Gravekeeper. This is just so much pressure on the survivor side. Will they even be able to get to the mechanic in time? It seems like an impossible task right now.
Yeah, it seems like Amico is like, just being cornered. You see that the chair placements is constantly progressing, and you know, Amico, as the psychologist, knows that the priestess is, the Bloody Queen is zoning in on him, and now the heartbeat is already there. Amico has to be very careful here. All for One has another mirror popped up, a sandwich situation in the Rising, and the Psychologist going down. Legacy will be moving on in the tournament, ladies and gentlemen.
Fantastic job coming into this match. Extremely strong.